Yeah, all the executive team is in residence. All right, since we had our food conversation. That's wrong. Let's call this meeting the official order, and then Robin, if I could have you just check out and roll call for us.
Okay. Don Dudley,
Here.
Matt Montgomery,
Here.
Dolly Holland. Present. Mike Drake,
Present.
Mike Riley, Colin Mosley.
Here.
Stacy May,
Present.
Tiffany Reeves. Present. Rolando Thacker,
Present.
Hannah Gregory. Here. Jeremy Hurd,
Here.
Todd Blanton,
Here.
Jennifer Hayes.
Here.
All right.
All right. Thank everybody for being here. Got a few action items and some informational items to go over. The first one is the approval of the minutes that were sent out last week. I assume everybody's had some time to look at them, see if there's any discrepancies that they want to talk about. Give everybody a moment to think about that and look for a motion to approve the minutes from our previous meeting on May the 3rd.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Matt. And a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye, wave your hands. And Micah was driving, so we don't need him to wave his hands. All right, that motion passes. Let's look at our financial report for April through June, and that brings in Mr. Mosley.
All right. Thank you, John. So as you can see, we've got 3 months to catch up on here, April, May, and June. In April, we were at 84% expended. And we were running lean, and in May, we went to 87%. We only spent less than 3%. And then in June, as we closed out, we were up to 92%. In June, on our overall budget, we were at 92% expended, and that was 100% expended on admin. We were at 103% expended on adult, and then we were at 44% on dislocated worker. And again, that number is low because most of that got shifted over to adult to cover our costs. And then our youth was at 124% expended. And again, that was, we could go over because we received additional funds to capture the rest of those. And then we did cover our work experience for the youth programs for last fiscal year. So we were covered there. Overall, we came in under and had a little bit left over to carry over into this year. And we just got an NFA for the youth grant, and we should be expecting the adult and dislocated workers to come in any day now. So if anybody has any questions about our last 3 months, please let me know.
What's the NFA for the amount that you were anticipating?
The one that we received, it was 920,000 for the youth. And I do believe on our budget that we submitted at the last meeting, it was, we were expecting around 850. So that's a little bit of a bonus there.
No, very good.
Mm.
Any other questions, comments about that? I mean, it looks like we had some extra carry over to the next fiscal cycle, so we're in a positive at least for a little bit, right? And then we're waiting on other funds to hit, so I think the prediction was we're really looking much better around September, is that what we're looking at?
October, usually about October is when the program year funds will come to state.
Yep.
About in October.
There's no more discussion, and I'll ask for a motion to approve our financial report for April through June.
I'll make a motion. Or I'll
Right.
second.
We got one and two, we'll take either and both, how about that? We got Matt and Dolly both chiming in. All in favor, say aye, or wave your hand, and Micah, just gonna see that you're okay. You okay?
I'm good.
All
I didn't
right.
think y'all wanted to watch me drive, so that's why I stopped the camera.
Yeah, we don't need to see you drive. All right, that motion passes. The next action item was actually an added piece, which is, I'm not sure if everybody got this, was the board approval of set of membership was added to what printed out in front of me. You may not have, I'm not sure, but we're gonna talk about the board approval of set of membership. And
The membership this year is $250 for the whole board.
the whole board,
Yeah, and that gives you access to a lot of their online resources. Information. Plus anyone, when the board members attend SETA, that gives those members a cheaper rate, so.
no, that's a no-brainer for me. It's $250 for a board, set of membership. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. Micah, Dolly, you guys have a problem with $250 for
No,
membership?
I agree with you, John. I mean, it's almost no money, and I think that we leverage it a lot, so that makes perfect sense to me.
Okay. So for that, we will need an official vote. You throw the motion out there, man?
I have I done all the first ones so far? Can
Well.
we get somebody else? Then I'll second it. But yeah.
Okay. Mike, are you good with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll consider everybody in agreement. As far as the set, I know that, just a sidebar, Robin and I talked, we had someone going and that canceled, and now we got an extra seat for a future event. Is that what we had to do or got to do?
No one else expressed interest, so, yeah. We could either move it forward or.
Because I don't think it was allocated, it would have to be like 2, 3 to 1, it just is an allocation for board staff, so I think, or for board members. So I think that'd be good just to roll it to, because I believe the one in the spring is in Cherokee.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to that one.
Yeah, and that one will actually probably be a little bit more cost effective, so we might be able to send 2 people, where it was gonna cost 1 to go to this one, so.
So Cherokee, North Carolina in March, I think I've already through on mine. It's good. That's one of my haunts. Okay, so everybody's in agreement with that. Motion is approved for $250 for our city membership coming up. And I think that should just be rolled into an annual thought, you know.
We just have to keep it on and approve it every year,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay. Informational items, we got our Kentucky Career Center Bluegrass Staff Training Day. Who's speaking on that?
We do an all-staff training, in which we go back over the basics and any, changes that we've got with the program and all that stuff. We have it on August 14th. It'll be at the ad, if y'all want to stop by, because all the staff will be there. So,
What time?
starts at 10, ends at 4:30. So, and we
All
can
the staff will
send you,
be there and yeah, all day training. Be it like a lunch break for that.
We're gonna have lunch.
And how many staff is approximately?
There are 9 equal staff and 7 board support staff,
So
so 16
16.
total.
You
so,
want to try to meet them for lunch?
That's what I was thinking about, trying to, get something together, so, kind of an appreciation, because Don and I talked about that, definitely during the COVID time, and try to appreciate the face-to-face workers.
We can make sure we're going to get you a copy of the agenda, so you'll know the. Everything else, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just
How many staff again? 9 and
9 and 7, 16 total. Thanks for that information. Then the next one is access training. Who's speaking on that?
I'm gonna guess that one's safety.
Hello, everyone. Just to give everybody an update, the access training is, I'm still working on the videos. It is a very, very lengthy process. But I'm going to just share the screen. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I just want to give everybody kind of an overview of where it's at. So on the Career Center page, we have a page dedicated to access where people can download the entire manual. The manual itself is divided into 3 sections. And what we're doing is each section has its own page. So this is the first section. They can download and take it by section if they want to, you'll see at the side here, little projects that they can do as they go through it. We do recommend if they're watching the videos, if they have questions, I do mention in the videos that they should contact the Career Center and have staff assist them. So just wanted to give everybody a little overview of that. So if you have, if you know people who need to work on their employability skills, but maybe can't do it during Career Center hours, this is just a nice little benefit for them.
And I brought a printed out copy of it if anybody wants to flip through it.
I can't tell if I'm still sharing or not.
You are.
Oh,
It looks good.
here it is. I clicked back over there, stop share. That is it. Just wanted to let everybody know it's still in process, but hopefully we are going to submit that again for the Spring SETA conference. So hopefully it'll get chosen next time, because I do think it's a great training for folks.
Matt, are you trying to say something that seemed like?
Oh, no, I just said she was still sharing at the time. She's not now, but it looked really good. I thought, I mean, just that kind of stuff, you just never know who's going to pick up on it, but just different people need different guidance, and yeah, no, good stuff.
Yeah, I am happy to say, because I can see how many people have viewed it on YouTube. So I do see that there are people who are going either through our website or through YouTube and watching the videos and hopefully picking up on that. So
Yeah. How many more until you're like a major YouTube influencer?
I'm working on it. And pretty soon I'll be like, some sort of destination spot being promoted, holding up my drink or whatever, showing everybody.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Stacy.
You're welcome. And that'll certainly happen with Todd before it'll happen with me.
All right, our next one is our grant service provider, and May through June, Ms. Jennifer, I see you're out there.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey,
In the packet, you'll see May and June report, and they're a little shorter compared to reports in the past, and you all know that things, obviously have changed up a little bit with us. But for the month of June, we operated with me and Todd and Kevin, and then 3 case managers. So there was 6 of us in June. And so we ended the year with 300 enrollments, which isn't bad compared to years in the past and compared to us, stopping really in February. And so we exited 90 participants from April through June with an 82% overall positive rate. And out of the ones that we paid for credentials, 42 out of 51 earned their credentials. So a really good positive rate for credential earnings as well. Our primary focus on our staff is just covering our Kentucky Career Center offices, leaving the doors open, serving individuals calling or coming in. So we're still serving, and then we still have a lot to maintain. So as of this morning, we had 845 participant files that we're still maintaining. So there's still plenty of work to do, even though we're not aggressively enrolling new participants. We're still offering employability skills workshops like Stacy talked about. We do those virtually twice a week, and then we do some in person as well. So we're doing in person for Isaiah Recovery House once a month. Allie, our case manager here in Richmond, goes on site at the Bluegrass Army Depot every other week to offer employability workshop training. So we're still out and about a little bit, primarily just covering the offices. Todd's going to cover all of the events and things in his, and then at the end of each report for May and June, I did write up a success story. And one is for, they're both dislocated workers, so individuals who've lost their job. One lost their job due to foreign trade. We paid for a CDL for one, and we paid for industrial maintenance for another. Both laid off, both earned their credential from us and went to work pretty quick. So if y'all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Hey, Jennifer, will you just remind me again what the exit rate versus positive credential? Are they the same people and they do something additional?
The exit rate is, it's people that when they enroll with our program, the goal of our program is suitable employment. So if somebody comes in and enrolls, we exit them when they gain employment. So we work with them, and it could be that we work with them a month. It could be we work with them 2 years. Sometimes we pay for training. Sometimes we don't have to pay for training. Sometimes we put them in a work-based learning. So the exit rate is whenever they've reached the goal, which is employment. And then the credential rate is of those that have exited, if we paid for a credential, whether they've earned it or not.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a good question. Thanks, Dolly.
And it seems like it's a pretty high success rate for what you had. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are for like other regions or historically, but that still seems like a pretty high percentage. So good work.
Yeah, definitely good work.
Thank you all. We pretty much keep them on the caseload until they go to work. I mean, there's some that drop off the map. You can't conquer the world and save everybody, but there's definitely some that drop off. But for the most part, if we enroll them, we get them to work.
Any last questions, comments for Jennifer?
Just to brag on Jennifer and her staff, I mean, those credential and exit, the positive exit rate numbers are astronomical. They are. When we share those at conferences, like I said, and stuff, I mean, other people are like, what are you doing? How are you getting those rates? There are some programs nationally that, especially working with populations that we focus on, 30 or 40% is a good positive exit number. So I mean, the numbers that Jennifer and her team are doing are just, they're amazing.
It's great. Okay. I guess the next one is for Todd to actually compliment what Jennifer's already saying,
All
right?
right, sounds good. So in your packet, you have May and June of my one-stop operator reports. Just to hit on a couple of high notes there. So employer meetings and job fairs, you can see there a couple of different things that we've been doing. We have hired a business service person back. Unfortunately, she's going to be leaving us pretty soon. She had another opportunity that she could not turn down, but we've already talked with Mike, and we're going to get some folks on the business service team back up together. But in the meantime, Rolando and I will continue serving employers in the area, working with any of the businesses that we need to. Always do business minute recordings or community resource minute recordings in May and June. John and Willie came on. We did one for Amtech.
Yep.
We did one with the city of Lexington. We did one with Code Kentucky. And then we also recorded a VR promo video for employers. So just a couple things that we put out there in a way of promoting things through videos. I did participate in a Kentucky Career Center Access Point webinar. The Kentucky Department of Libraries reached out to me. The work that we did with the public libraries in our area, they sent a list over to me when they were kind of starting this, and we had more certified access points in public libraries than any other area that I saw. I mean, we've got a ton of those. We scaled back obviously when we lost our staff, but we do still have those relationships with our public libraries. So they asked me to come on and present to a lot of library staff across the state and how easy it was to be an access point, what it entailed. Because I think there was a perception out there amongst the public libraries that this was gonna be something additional they had to do, and it's really not. You know, the biggest thing is just providing them knowledge. When we did this access points with the libraries, it was just training their staff up on what we did. That way they know how to utilize us and how to reach out to us when they've got people that are coming into their branches that need assistance with workforce services. So presented a webinar with them. We did a rapid response for Avon protection here in Lexington. That was the second one of those that we've done with the remaining folks there. And then you can see all the events that we did in May and June. That was typically the busiest 2 months of the year. It's kind of slowed down since then, but we did all kinds of different events in May and June. There's a whole inclusive list there on each of those reports, but pretty busy in those months. And Wando and I divided and conquered, and it's slowed down since then. But I'll take any questions and answer anything exactly.
I think it's pretty, you know, a note that we've got more access points in other regions. Who's keeping track? And once you find that out, it's like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I wasn't really aware either, John. They sent a list over of access points across the state. I mean, you know, we had 12 that were certified, and I don't think any other area had any double digits.
Wow.
Wow.
That's something we can be proud of. Not even know that we're trying.
Yeah, good work. I mean, I know it took a lot of work to get all that set up, but it's fun to see it kind of running now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I agree, the access points at the library is going to be probably one of our good travels. Yeah.
Is there a way to track the number of hits you get at the library, anything like that yet?
So some of the libraries took advantage of the tablets that we put out, the kiosks. And on those kiosks, people sign up for services or request them. There's a drop down box of what location they're at, so we can track those. But we can't just see if somebody hops on that kiosk and says, hey, we want to look at the job search. Or if somebody goes into the library and says, hey, I need help with a resume, and they reach out to us. I mean, we don't have all the tracking down like that. And really, one thing that now that we've got a few more staff, we'll probably look at doing is getting back out to spending some time back in the libraries in person. Maybe not as frequently as we were before, but just getting back out there to keep those relationships strong. To make sure that with library staff turnover and the staff turnover that we've had, that they know exactly still who to contact. So now that we've got somebody in each office and we've got the offices covered, I think we'll look at getting back out to doing that. That way we're still holding presence there.
Nice job.
Yeah, I mean, today the Jennifer and Todd, of course, always like, this is what's happening, this is the good stuff. So, both of you guys, thank you. Our last item on our list that I see is workforce program update.
Yes, that would be me. So just wanted to update you on a few things that are going on. Just to make sure that everybody's on the same page and just kind of share some of the really good stuff that's going on. So, Todd mentioned like with staffing, we were at full staff for a couple of weeks anyway with direct service staff, with Jennifer staff, but we're hiring business service consultants. So that'll be coming up really quick. Also wanted to just, you talked about some of the model programs and how we've got the access points that the other areas don't have. Just to brag on your staff and the direct service staff, we're working on a couple of initiatives. One is with Alistair and the KWIB that they're really wanting to look at, kind of see how we model the programs with recovery and reentry populations, and to help other areas have a baseline of how to do that. We've had the opportunity to go to some other areas and do some trainings about what we do, but now we're starting to see people who want to come here. So for example, I think it's the end of this month, we're meeting with the director and assistant director from Kentucky Works. They're wanting to come and learn more about how we work with the recovery population and how that's been structured. And basically how the work-based learning is working for us. A lot of your areas across the state are still very heavy on the IPA training. And Bluegrass region was, we were really one of the first ones to say, look, we're the first program. That's what we're here for. I mean, Amy was very clear on that in establishing that. So that's something that, you know, some folks in the code have also contacted us, wanted to learn more about our work-based learning programs and how those operate. So it really is a testament to the work that your board staff and your direct service staff are doing, that other regions are wanting to come here and learn from what's going on. So that's definitely a testament to your staff. We've had some partner meetings, just some of them have been repetitive meetings that we've had. But just to make sure that, you know, we do want to reiterate with our programs, our partners, that we are a work first program. So when someone comes in, we're not automatically saying, hey, we can put you in training somewhere to put you in school for something. We have an amazing number of jobs open within our region. This is the hill I'll die on. If somebody is not working within our 17 counties, it's because they choose not to. There are that many jobs available across a lot of sectors, a lot of industry. So we've had to have some conversations with some of our partners that have kind of gotten a habit of referring a lot of people to us to pay for training, that we definitely want you to refer participants to us. We want to meet with those individuals. However, we are going to talk with them holistically about their options. Because, for example, yeah, we could send somebody back to school to get a particular 6-month certification that they can go in and start making $25,000 a year, or we can place them right now in a work-based learning opportunity and get them in a $50,000 plus career. There's a difference. And I'm not saying that we're saying, oh, we're never going to do IPA training. It's individually based. If somebody comes in and they need that training to get to where they want to be, then absolutely that's an option we have, but it's not a default. And historically in the past, and still for a lot of areas, that IPA training is the default and the work-based learning is the exception. And I think we've been really fortunate to kind of prove that work-based learning is the default and IPA is the exception, is a more effective model. And other areas are kind of pitching onto that.
I think we need to be a model for that, because other areas,
They just
do exactly what you just described. Let's put you in this program and train you to do something rather than find an employment.
right. And a lot of employers do that on the job training, you know, and they would rather have them, you know, you and I talked many times about coming to, like, for example, like the 2 weeks quick start versus going and getting a 6-month degree or a 6-month certification, but they're still going to send them back to you so they can learn what to do on the job, because employers want to train for what they do. We've also had a couple other of our training, one of our medical training providers here in Fayette County has been contacted us with, hey, we've got a bunch of people that need to get their tuition paid for. And one of those kind of the stereotypes or the stigmas or the false beliefs is we're not a funding source. We're not a bank, we're not a student loan corporation. We're not here simply to offset people's costs. We're here to help people remove barriers to get them back into the workforce, whether that be work-based learning, you know, on the job training, whatever it is we need to do, it'll be individualized. So we're having to do a little bit of education for partners to understand that that's not the direction that we want to go. We want to build a good workforce, and we want to develop a workforce that can go and show up and work and not get additional credit.
I would love for you to expand on that, maybe at the SETA meeting and actually train the other groups to do that.
I would love to. I get some bad looks on the director's
I'll
office.
be right there cheering you on.
I kind of tell them I'm a short timer, so I can say what I want, but it's just the truth. And we've seen success with it. It's not like that's just this crazy idea that we've had. We have seen proven success, making work-based learning at that priority. And there are some areas, you know, that have those agreements with their KCTCS schools of, yeah, send us anybody that comes in that can't, you know, finish their degree and we'll pay for their tuition. Yeah, that gives them a positive outcome. That's true, but that's also cherry picking your numbers. And that's not real reflective or indicative of the quality of service you're providing. And I actually irritated some folks last time that when I said that, and you know, Jennifer and Ted can definitely attest to this, it's a lot easier to do ITA case management than it is case management with work-based learning. It's a whole lot easier to pay their tuition, check the grades once a semester, and then say, yeah, they got their stuff and pay for the books, versus somebody that's coming every week, it's got barriers, it's got things that they need gas cards, or they need help with interview skills, or they need soft skills, and they need that constant reinforcement. That's a lot harder. That's a whole lot harder. So, you know, hats off to Jennifer and preparing her staff to tackle that and not being afraid to take on the hard situations. And like I said, that's the low hanging fruit is the IPA. It's harder to put people in work-based learning. Trying to look at mine, take my glasses off. The VR events have taken on a lot of their own. Jeremy has done an exceptional job with that. In the month of June, we had 10 different events, over 200 individuals, were able to try out the software. I think it was over 300 simulations. That was almost as much as we've done the previous 3 months. It went from Jeremy was having to call places to see if we can come do the VR events to now we have places coming to us. It started off with like 1 or 2 schools, and now Jeremy has got schools calling saying, hey, we want you into our schools. We've got interiors, even some of our local fiscal courts have called and wanted to come out and do things in their county. So the VR has been one of the best investments. It has been great. I think now Jeremy's going to, I think Isaiah House, we're going in on a scheduled basis. I think it's Madison County, Franklin County, and about to be Fayette County schools that Jeremy's going into. So.
And we'll.
Yeah.
Mercer.
And I think that's going to continue to grow when these school systems can see the capabilities of these VR events. Have you all had a chance to look at them and try it out?
I personally have played with a little
Okay.
bit, but, you know, we haven't been in my place and the guys have loved it.
Because I thought maybe that might be something that if we wanted to set up at one of the future board meetings. And I mean, I know this is kind of not be the time or place for it, but maybe even at the joint meeting, is maybe have 1 or 2 of them set up in the back, so during breaks, if people wanted to come by
That would be
and take a look
great.
at
That would be
it.
better.
Is that something you think we could pull off?
Oh,
Jeremy?
absolutely, yeah, that's not.
Because even if it could just be something like, you know, during lunch or during the breaks, if people just wanted to run over and we'll have a couple set up, that they could just look at it. Because I think for most people.
You know, kind of list there so you pick out which career path they want to play.
We'll actually have the,
Catalogs for them.
we'll have the new career exploration 2.0 in by then, so that'll be very good.
So that's going really well. We'll have our monitoring, for the state, the annual monitoring they do, we have the closing call on that Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. So hopefully we'll have that wrapped up and behind us on Thursday. I don't think there were any major issues.
Thursday.
At 10 o'clock, we'll have that wrapped up. I think there were just a few little things that we had to go back and, you know, find a couple of travel documents and things like that, but there were no question costs. There was nothing, anything like that. So it was a good monitoring visit, which is what we want to see.
Was that for 2022?
Yes, yes. Yeah, it went, like I said, it went really well. There was just a few documentation things. We had to get some backup documentation just to show, but it was all there. The last thing is I just wanted to kind of give an update with the workforce director position. My goal for this, if this kind of timeline falls with what you all are looking at, what I'd like to be able to do is in September, I'd like to get the position description and create an interview panel between members of the workforce board, our governing board of the LEOs, and to get kind of an interview panel put together in September. I'd like to be able to post that position probably toward the end of September, early October, to give us time to get in quality applicants and kind of screen through that and pull that number down. And then I'd like to do the interviews for that position in November. And the reason I'd like to go ahead and do those in November is because if there is an applicant or whoever it chooses to be comes from outside or a different position, they're going to need to give probably a month's notice wherever they're at. So by getting that,
So the offer would be toward
the end of November,
Thanksgiving
yes.
time and then the actual real.
The transition would take place in January, and then January, as soon as the first working day after January 1st would be the start date.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I would say that, you know, it's probably good to put that as an agenda item on our joint session,
Yes.
at like the 6th of September to let's get nominations from both boards to go do that. I don't feel like the Leos will be they were pretty adamant that they'd be more involved last time because I think it was more controversial. I don't think this one is going to be that controversial at all, but I know the mayor last time was incredibly passionate about being a part of that process. So if we present it to them, I mean, everything else you said on the timeline makes perfect sense.
And that was my goal, was for the joint meeting to be able to present that to both boards so that we could get nominations for people that would like to sit on that. And that way I can go ahead and communicate with those folks, like here's a position description and get that rolling so that we can be on top of this.
I like it.
Because I'd like to give us enough time, so like I said, so that person has time to put in an adequate notice.
Right.
We can
And I think that from what you've said in the past, I mean, just in that presentation, I'm sure you will, you're really good at this. I don't mean to micromanage you, but I know that, you know, this falls right under our budget, you know, all of those sorts of things that you would talk about, that's gonna, you know, that everything's fine for this year as you're laying all of that out. I know that one of the things they asked about was where the job was posted. That was a little bit just under a lot of debate. Are we posting nationally? Are we posting just to the state? You know, is this something that we're going to bring up like at SETA or with other conference groups? Is it LinkedIn? I know you'll do the right thing, but just, I mean, be prepared for a question like that. Where does it get posted?
Yeah, my initial thought and plan on that would be that we would, with all positions within the ad, we post those on Indeed. But then we also, like, depending on the position and what department it's in, we'll send it to like any national groups or state groups. Like, so for example, with this, there is a place on the SETA website for job postings. So we'll work with that to make sure that that's listed there as well. We'll send it out to any other partner agencies, but it'll definitely be on Indeed, it'll be on the workforce site, it'll be on LinkedIn. You know, we'll make sure that the posting is put in all those places.
Yeah. No, I knew you do the right thing. It was just one of those where sometimes if I'm not ready for the question, somebody asks me that, even though I know it's sort of a like, I haven't thought about that in a little while, and yeah, rather than give that pause. So no, good stuff.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll definitely make sure that we cast the broad net. And like I said, that way the funding for that position is in place for January 1st, so.
So their salary start January.
Yeah, we'll be able to start funding that January 1st, so hopefully we'll be able to get a candidate in and enroll as soon as we get back from the New Year holiday.
I think it's a good time.
And the only other thing I've got jotted down here for my notes was just also rapid responses. We have had Todd and Rowie both have been doing quite a bit of rapid response. We've got, of course, the big one is the BGCAP project, and I'm glad Rowie came back because I was kind of like, wait a little bit. I was gonna let Rowie give you all a bit of an update on kind of where we stand with BGCAP and kind of the timeline that we're looking at with rolling out some of the assistance on that.
What is BGCAP?
I'm gonna let Rowie.
It's the Bluegrass Army Depot.
Okay.
Or like, it's their layoffs. So that we have a rapid, me and Todd's got one set up, 2 on the 23rd and the 30th. It's gonna be virtual. It's not gonna be the big ones. It's just gonna be,
With Richmond. Okay.
and it's, right now, you're gonna start seeing some stragglers start getting laid off for certain positions. But the bulk of it will probably start happening somewhere around September, October, November, it'll start. And then I know Stacy's working really hard right now on applying for a grant for, different opportunities, if we were to get it, and actually look at it, work the grant. But currently right now, Todd and I will be working on a rapid response session, but then you also have the Career Center staff who have designated time out of their day to set aside Fridays as a resume workshop day. They can come at any time to come to the Career Center and get their resume updated and worked on and looked at it, or mock interviews. And then Jeremy and then Robin have been making phone calls for those who have, because we set up there was a website that was set up for them, it's a private website that has to have a passcode to get in, and it has all the different types of resources that we have available. And part of that is a computer training opportunity as well. So I know Jeremy's been working on getting that set up so they can go in there and get that training as well. So it's a lot of moving parts. It's not just me. I'm just the one that's just getting all the questions and stuff, but there's a whole lot of people that has their hands in it that are doing a whole lot of different work for it. Obviously, the goal is that once that bulk of the layoffs start happening, hopefully, the goal is to get them employed locally, hopefully. And then, if that's not sufficient, then hopefully find them somewhere else.
Because altogether, there's 1,500 people really affected in this. Now, as Rowie mentioned, some of those are going to be like engineers and people with like highly skilled trades. They're going to be pretty much just a referral because, I mean, we've even got people from about 2 hours away, employers that are wanting to come in and do job fairs with new plants that are being built in the central Kentucky area around batteries of cars. They've contacted us directly. So, and this is also, but we also have to be very cognizant of our local partners there in Berea and Richmond and Madison County. There are a lot of employers in Madison County that would love to snatch up a lot of those workers. But a lot of those folks are just gonna be a simple referral because they've got the qualifications, they've got advanced degrees, we can just get them a job. But as Rowie mentioned, for some of the folks, maybe this in your custodial staff, maybe some of your other staff that don't have those transferable skills, Stacy's been working on the National Disability Worker Grant so that we can apply to do some upskilling and do some different things for those folks to help them not only get another job, but maybe to advance and get better jobs. You have to apply for the National Disability Worker Grant. It has to be within 90 days of the layoff date, so that's September 1st. But we're kind of pausing that and going back a little bit because even though the layoffs are going to start September 1st, it's just going to be like Rolly said, it's the one or two here and there. Actually, it's going to be after the first of the year when you're going to see the big chunks. Because like right now, the depot is still having to hire people because even though they know that they're leaving, they know that they're laying off all these people, there's still stuff that has to be done. There was a big thing on the news, the chemical stockpiles was destroyed like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
But there's still a lot of people that have a lot of work to do until that last stage. So they're still hiring people there, even though they're about to be one of the biggest layoffs in our region. They're still having to hire people because work has to get done.
So like it's a two-phase project. So the first phase that everybody saw was the destroying the chemicals. With all that's done, everybody's like, well, everything's done. Well, now you gotta get rid of the rockets, you gotta get rid of that second phase of it. So yeah, it's while the rapid response that me and Todd are doing coming up, while that number may be a little bit skewed, you may see, say, like 64 people are losing their job, but there may actually in reality be only like 35 people losing their job. Because they're counting even a vacant position that's not being filled currently, they're still counting that as a position of loss. So basically what they're doing is they're just going down the line of what positions they're gonna get rid of as the project goes. So you may see one that says, well, they're losing 235 people. Well, only 150 may actually work at that, and then the remainder is position. And then, like Mike said, it's a matter of, the job has to get done regardless. So if 45 people quit tomorrow, they're probably gonna try to hire those 45 people back to get the job done.
And we've also got some other large, there's one right now, I think it's listed on the state warrant notices for Clark County, is it,
Multi-code.
yeah,
We were just there, the 31st.
They're Monday.
We were there Monday for rapid response.
Me neither. It used to be Wally.
Okay, ooh,
Oh, really?
they make labels?
Yeah,
and I think that's like 90 or 70, 70.
Almost 80, around 80.
I'll give you the exact number, because actually the email just came through again.
Yeah, so I just saw that email a few seconds ago.
Their MCC level is 76 people, but we had 19 attend the rapid response. That was the first session. They're wanting us to do a second session for that, which will be the remainder.
And we've got another one that I got a phone call this week that I'm still collecting information to pass on to Rolly about this is, with Bluegrass Station. There's some Department of Defense things there, and some contracts that didn't get renewed, so there's probably gonna be about 90 or 100 people losing their jobs there, and that's gonna be a pretty big one for us. I'm just trying to get the information together. Like I said, Rolly and Todd do a great job with these rapid response. This is one of those things that, you know, we don't want to have to do. We don't want to see those closures, and we don't want to have to go in and do this, but it's a valuable service that the Career Center staff and our board staff do for the employers is going in, you know, and helping these folks transition to other jobs. And it's a free service. You know, there is no charge when we go in. When Rolly goes in and Todd goes in, they do these events, they do the rapid response events. There's not anything that we're getting reimbursed for. We don't get, you know, paid to do these. But it's a service that we provide to our employers. And I think that's something that kind of gets overlooked a lot. But that's a huge amount of work every year with the rapid responses, to the point that we're gonna be also looking to apply for some other state funds for rapid response, because we do have such a high number of rapid responses that way it'll be another pot of money that we can build, like, for example, some of Rolly's time. That'll help save us a little bit on our workforce money. We can build some of that back up, and we can build to another pot of money, but we're working on that as well. So we're just trying to do whatever we can do to make everything go as far as it can. You know, I made the analogy is rice and beans and rice. We want to be good stewards of what we got in every way that we can find a different funding stream to help offset some of that, so that we can save more workforce dollars, so that next year we can really get back to where we were. We want to do that.
Just a thought as you was talking about the Bluegrass Station and the Avon. I'm just thinking that they're federally associated wages versus a private sector job is going to be misaligned. I mean, that seems like a problem you're going to, you know, face and deal with.
Well, the Bluegrass Army Depot, most definitely. Because their wages. Yeah.
I've had that conversation with multiple federally employ the people if you come to a private sector. Well, you don't pay me, that's, you know, rice and beans.
Very right. Well, yeah, it's
Yeah, it's like I said, I just want to share all that just to let you know that the board support staff are out there working hard for you guys every day. Whether it be in going out to, you know, our partners and doing presentations, whether it's working with our employers to wrap responses. You know, Rolly and I have even been involved in some of the economic development things with the economic development cabinet, the different projects they have about bringing new employers in and getting out and be able to share what the Kentucky Career Centers can do for potential employers. So
that's the call that I just got. I got a meeting on next Tuesday for a third visit for Richmond, so they're probably trying to wrap this one up for the employers going to Richmond.
So we want to get out there and, I did one in Mercer County, Rolly's done a bunch in Richmond. This is just to let new employers know that, hey, if we come to the Bluegrass region, there's services available, there's training that we can do, there's incumbent work, there's on-the-job training, there's incentives that we can help connect them with, and, you know, we're fortunate that the state respects what we do. I mean, that's the thing is, you know, when this new one came up, the secretary called and wanted to make sure that we could be there and kind of be in front of it, because they do that. Rolly and Todd, the whole team has got an exceptional track record of taking care of things. So they want to make sure that we're kind of running point on that and taking care of it. So just to say all that, to really brag on your board support staff, they do an amazing job. Every single aspect is taken care of. And, you know, I talked to other directors and they're not blessed with the relationships that we have with our direct service staff. Like we're the relationships we have here are an anomaly. Like they're always talking about arguing and spat with their direct service provider. I'm like, no, we in Jennifer, we talk and we get it done. I mean, we work it out and you know, that's something that, you know, I give a lot of credit to that to Amy for creating that culture and of openness and just transparency and teamwork. And we're just trying to keep that rolling, and it's paying dividends for us. But that's all I have for an update. If anybody's got any questions, or I'd be glad to answer what I can.
Anybody out there have some questions? Mike, are you still driving? Uh-oh.
Nope, we got them.
Unless we went to the bad area. Any comments, questions for anything that Mike has discussed or anything else? So our next meeting is when? Is that the
November 1st.
our executive meeting, November 1st? And then our full board meeting is our September, all right, at the joint meeting?
September 6th in Richmond and Scholar House.
Yeah, I think we've got a finance meeting towards the end of the month, and then we've got the joint board meeting like September 6th.
Yeah, I'm looking at those finance meetings, Matt. I'm just, I will be traveling a lot, so, you know, I may not be able to make some of those. But
I'll put you
again,
down for all the action items. That's cool.
yeah. All right, with that, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Matt's got it, and since Mike is out, Dolly.
Second.
Got a second. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank
See you
you.
next time.
Good stuff.